Hey, amazing viewers, I love connecting with you all around the world. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to share will leave you inspired and ready to take control of your own life. In today's story, you'll hear about an incredible twist that no one saw coming. Also, if this is your first time here, press the subscribe button and join our incredible journey. It was the kind of year where everything seemed to change. My 66th birthday was approaching, but I wasn't focused on the usual celebrations or gifts. No, this year was different. I had won the lottery. A staggering $20 million. It didn't feel real when I first saw those numbers, not in the way a windfall of this magnitude should. But there it was, and I wasn't going to waste the chance to make life better for my children, Logan and Luna. I had everything planned. After taxes, I'd have around $10 million left, and I wasn't about to keep it all for myself. The luxury homes I had already scouted for both of them, one for each, had been carefully selected. Not only would I give them a home they could call their own, but each would also get a $1 million check, a gift that would change their lives forever. It was a gesture I knew would be appreciated, a way to give them the security they deserved, and a little more. Maybe it was the lingering guilt over our complicated family dynamic, or perhaps the years I spent sacrificing so much for them. It felt like a way to make up for the times I had fallen short, but mostly, it was just love. That love was the driving force behind everything I was doing. The dinner was ready. Everything was prepared with care. I wanted this birthday to be perfect. My heart was full of excitement, imagining their reactions when I presented the checks. The smiles, the gratitude. A moment I would never forget. But as the hours ticked by, I started to notice something strange. It was 10:00 p.m., and neither Logan nor Luna had shown up. I hadn't heard from them. No phone calls, no messages. Unease crept into my chest, a tight knot forming in my stomach. I reached for my phone, dialing Logan first. No answer. Then Luna. Again, no response. It was then that a sense of dread settled in. Luna had called earlier in the day, saying she'd be late due to work. Logan had sent a text saying something similar. I had brushed it off. Work comes first, I had told myself. But now, at 10:30 p.m., that excuse felt flimsy. I sent a message in our family group chat, asking when they would be coming. And yet, no response. The message sat unread. The excitement I had felt earlier slowly drained from me, replaced by a sinking feeling of abandonment. It wasn't supposed to be like this. This was my moment, the one I'd been waiting for, the one I'd been dreaming about. And now it was slipping away. By the time it was nearly 1:00 a.m., I was left sitting in the same spot where I had waited all evening. The food was cold. The carefully arranged real estate contracts and checks, meant for Logan and Luna, sat untouched. The night I had envisioned, a joyous celebration, was gone. In its place, an empty silence. The worst part, no one cared to even show up. I slowly walked over to the couch, sat down, and stared at the cold, unacknowledged gifts. For a moment, I almost felt invisible. It was as if I didn't matter at all. The world around me felt like it was spinning without me in it. My birthday had come and gone, and I couldn't shake the overwhelming sense that this was a sign that maybe I had been living in a dream all these years. A dream where my children, who I had always put first, would be there for me when I needed them most. But now I had to face reality. They weren't coming. The dream of a perfect family celebration was shattered, and I was left alone with nothing but the cold, unspoken truth. Tomorrow would be a new day, but tonight, I sat in the dark, alone, with no answers and no closure. The morning after my birthday was a cruel reminder of how much I had been fooling myself. I woke up to silence. My phone sat untouched on the nightstand. No messages, no calls, not even a single birthday wish from Logan or Luna. I had spent the whole night replaying the events in my head, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't understand why they had forgotten me. How could they? I reached for my phone, and sent a message in our family group chat. "It's Saturday. Come home for dinner. I have a surprise for you." A simple, hopeful invitation. But again, nothing. No reply. My heart sank even lower as I stared at the screen, willing the little dots to appear, signaling that one of them was at least typing a response. But there was nothing. After breakfast, I took a walk to clear my head. The fresh air felt like a sharp contrast to the suffocating emotions that had been crowding my thoughts. As I passed by my neighbor Mary, she stopped, smiling, and asked why I hadn't been out for my usual early morning walk. I managed a weak smile in return, too embarrassed to tell her that I'd spent the night waiting for my children, hoping they'd show up. Instead, I nodded and said, "Oh, just needed some extra rest." But she didn't buy it. Mary laughed softly, clearly trying to ease my discomfort. "I told you ages ago," she said, "just book a nice dinner at a hotel. Less stress, less hassle." But no, you insisted on cooking up a feast for them. Logan likes spicy, Luna likes sweet and sour, and your granddaughter needs a healthy kids' meal. Do you really think a fancy restaurant can't handle that? Honestly, you go through all this trouble just for them. Her words stopped me in my tracks. For the first time, I heard the truth in her voice. All these years, I had been bending over backward, thinking I was doing the right thing for my children, trying to make up for the gaps in their lives. But maybe I was doing it all wrong. Maybe I had spent my life revolving around them, sacrificing my own well-being and happiness for the sake of their approval. And for what? To be ignored. To be left waiting, abandoned on a day that was supposed to be about celebrating me. Before I could dwell on this any longer, a voice interrupted my thoughts, a sharp, mocking tone that I recognized immediately. It was Sammy, an old neighbor, and an even older rival from my time working in fashion. She stood across the street, arms crossed, a smug smile playing on her lips. "Oh, don't act like you're some poor, self-sacrificing mother," Sammy sneered, always bragging about how devoted Logan and Luna are. What a joke. Her words hit harder than I cared to admit. I tried to ignore her, turning toward Mary, but Sammy wasn't done. She stepped in front of me, blocking my path with a smirk that felt like it was aimed directly at my heart. "I just thought you should know," she continued. "Last night, we had dinner for my grandson's birthday at a restaurant. And guess who I saw?" Sammy's eyes sparkled with cruel glee as she pulled out her phone and shoved the screen in my face. "Look at this," she taunted. Reluctantly, I glanced at the screen. It was a video. The woman in the red dress, laughing and talking, was unmistakably Chloe, my ex-husband Jeff's mistress, and behind her, standing by the stage, were Logan and Jeff, both grinning as if they were celebrating something monumental. The camera zoomed out, showing banners with a message I couldn't quite comprehend at first. "Happy 25th wedding anniversary, Jeff and Chloe. Happy birthday, Chloe." My heart stopped. As the video played, I saw my granddaughter in Chloe's arms, her innocent face beaming. "Grandma Chloe, you're so pretty. I want you to be my real grandma," she chirped. My stomach dropped. It was as if I had been punched in the chest. Sammy's mocking voice broke the silence. "You should have seen Logan. Bought that woman a solid gold bracelet. Must have cost him 10 grand. And Luna? She gave Chloe a whole gold jewelry set. Necklace, earrings, rings, the whole deal. Kept calling her Mom. It was so natural, like she'd always been there." The words rang in my ears, and the truth hit me like a wave. Logan and Luna had moved on. They had chosen their new family, and I was nothing more than a forgotten chapter in their lives. I stood frozen, staring at the phone, the video replaying in my mind over and over. I had given everything for them, and now I was nothing. No calls, no visits, no birthday wishes. I was invisible, but something inside me stirred. Maybe it was time for me to stop being the one who always gave, always sacrificed, always loved unconditionally, only to be left behind. Maybe it was time for me to take control of my life again. I handed Sammy back the phone, my legs unsteady as I turned away, trying to push back the tears that were threatening to spill. With every step I took, my heart grew heavier. But there was something else growing inside me too. A fire, a quiet rage, a determination. They may have forgotten me, but I wasn't done yet. It was time to take my life back. The walk back to my house felt like the longest journey of my life. Each step was heavy with the weight of what I had just learned. But as I neared my front door, something inside me shifted. The bitter sting of betrayal, the hollow ache of abandonment, it was all still there. But beneath it, something else was rising. A spark, a flicker of strength. I stepped inside, the silence of the house almost suffocating, yet strangely peaceful. I had spent so many years thinking that my worth was tied to the people I loved. I had built my identity around being a mother, around giving everything I had to my children, and expecting their love in return. But now, I was faced with the painful reality that my love had been one-sided. It was a crushing realization. I collapsed onto the couch, my hands trembling as I wiped away the tears that had threatened to fall all day. I was tired. Tired of trying to make others happy at the cost of my own happiness. Tired of giving without receiving. But as I sat there, something deep inside me began to stir. You see, this was a pivotal moment in my life. The moment I realized that I had been living for everyone else but myself. My children had their own lives now, their own priorities, and I couldn't continue to sacrifice my own well-being in the hopes of getting their attention. It was clear now. I had been holding on to something that no longer existed. But here's the thing. This wasn't the end of my story. This was the beginning of something new, the beginning of reclaiming my life. I had spent years being the good mother, the selfless woman who always put others first. But now, I realized that I had forgotten the most important person in my life. Me. I took a deep breath and wiped the last of my tears away. It was time for me to live for myself, to rediscover who I was without the titles of mom or wife attached to me. I had dreams, passions, and desires that I had pushed aside for far too long. I reached for my phone and typed a message in our family group chat. I know you're both busy with your own lives, but I've decided to make a change. I can't keep waiting for you to love me in the way I've always hoped. I'm taking the next step in my life, and I hope you understand. I love you both, but I'm going to start living for me. I pressed send, and for the first time in years, I felt a sense of peace. As I sat back, I thought about everything I had been through. The years of sacrifice, the heartache, the betrayal. But most importantly, I thought about how far I had come. I wasn't the woman I used to be. I wasn't the woman who was willing to be forgotten for the sake of others. I was stronger now, wiser, and ready to take control of my future. This story isn't just about the pain of being forgotten. It's about the power of rediscovery. It's about realizing that your worth doesn't come from the people around you, but from within. It's about understanding that it's okay to put yourself first, to say no to the things that drain you, and to walk away from relationships that no longer serve you. If you're watching this and you feel like you've been left behind, like your love and sacrifice have gone unnoticed, know this: you are not alone. You have the power to change your story, to take back your life, and to create something beautiful for yourself. It's never too late. Life is not about waiting for others to show up. It's about showing up for yourself. And in that, you'll find your true strength. The most powerful thing you can do is choose yourself. Because when you choose yourself, everything else falls into place.